What you gonna do?
And we are live. Today on the Uncensored Entrepreneurs, we're going to be talking about your network is your net worth. And in today's times, building authentic relationships is in many cases worth more than currency itself. See you on the inside.
And we're back.
And we're back frantically. What about like seconds to going live? Tina was getting dressed at her computer. And anyway, so Tina, tell us a little bit about your last hour.
I found out there was a screw or a nail or something in my tire. So Paco went to go get it fixed, and he was like, "They're charging you all this." I said, "Hold on, let me go."
That's funny. That's so something I just don't have the ability to do.
I go up there and I'm like, "Hi, I just need my tire fixed. Can you get it fixed for me? I'm a talk show host." He's like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem."
So give him a plug. Give him a plug. What company was it?
Discount Tire in Woodstock, Georgia.
Today's episode is sponsored by.
And so then I'm like driving like a bat out of hell and back home. Poor Paco. I see him go.
Yeah.
That's why Ryan doesn't let me drive, by the way. Like, he's just like, you tailgate, you drive way too fast. I'm like, I get there faster. I don't know what you're talking about.
I get there faster.
I'm efficient.
You're like, I drive like I run a business. It's the same exact thing.
Well, like everybody talks about being the passenger princess. Well, I'm always the passenger princess when he's with me, because he's always driving. He puts me in, like, he's like the perfect man. He puts me in the car, he puts my seatbelt on, and then he gives me a kiss, and then he goes around and he gets in the car.
Aww, you were totally in the honeymoon stage still.
I'm like,
so cute. I wish I had little like hearts and rainbow emojis.
9 months, people. I don't know if you guys realize, but it's been 9 months. So still, it is still new.
Yeah.
Every single time he hasn't stopped. So like he does that all the time to me. So a passenger princess. But on TikTok, they're like, "You say you're the passenger princess, but really, I just want you in there so we can get and arrive safely."
So Tony, when you're watching this later, okay, on replay,
he's probably in the room now watching.
The Flowers Weekly, man, you're making us look bad. You're making the rest of us look bad.
Yep,
there is a bro code, okay? You need to calm down just a little bit.
Dial it back.
He does flowers every week. He holds my hand. He makes sure he walks on the outside where the street is. He puts me in the car first.
Just things that you should carry on. I mean, that I don't think should die off with the honeymoon phase. Being a gentleman.
So do you still hold your wife's hand and stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When's the last time you bought her flowers? Kelly, when's the last time you bought your flowers?
Let me just, for the record, say that it's more about the attention to what she likes and what she does not like. And I still from time to time will buy the flowers, but she really doesn't like them because our busy life, they'll die at home or they'll die.
I know, you feel bad.
That's kind of what she says. They die here or they die there. Like there's just so anyway, that's kind of our particular situation.
What about you?
Get the forever roses. They last for at least a year. So now you know.
Maybe some plastic roses.
No, they're real.
These are those forever roses.
Did your grandparents have like the velvet roses? Like, did your grandparents ever have those? That they just collected dust because they were velvet, but they looked beautiful. Yeah.
So
Oh
with
my
that
gosh.
being said, with all that
right.
being said, I'm really excited about today's topic. We talk about this in one sense or another on many of our shows, just in regards to building relationships and relationships over transactions, right? It's something that we talk about on a regular basis. But today's topic is specifically your network is your net worth. And quite frankly, it always has been. But in these trying times, when we all saw, a little bit of a clamp on our pocketbook, right? Especially during COVID, our network, was everything.
Was
Like being
everything.
able to connect with others, to pull you back out of that fire, it was huge. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that today. Really excited, like I said. And anyone that's watching live that has examples or things that they would want to add in, please throw it into the comments. But before we get started, follow, like, and share us. On Facebook.com/uncensored entrepreneurs. You can find us all across other social media as well. But we do appreciate that because it allows us just to pour more and more back into you. So,
can I just say one thing? Okay, so the whole month of November is the month of gratitude, right? I do a 30 days at gratitude challenge every single year. I've done it for 10 years now. I think we have like almost 15,000 people in the last 10 years join the gratitude challenge. It has been so amazing to watch all of these people every single day do the 30 days of gratitude challenge. And in fact, Paco does it too, and every single day. And it's kind of, he's like, oh, I'm getting some more stuff out of it. Mm-hmm. And all of these things people are sending me saying, oh my gosh, Tina, thank you so much. And it's only the 16th of the month. So 16 days in. So, when we're talking about your network and your net worth, it is those building relationships and being grateful for the people that are in your life and the people that have helped you along the way, or, even if it's just something small and so minute that you have to thank them. You have to go out there and be grateful and be gratitude. And I cannot believe next week is Thanksgiving.
It is.
Right?
I cannot believe next week is Thanksgiving. We went shopping yesterday and got all the stuff for Thanksgiving dinner, and the stores are like already packed and crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a week away. Like next week is Thanksgiving.
It is upon us. Yes, it is. It's going fast. This year is gone. Does it not feel like just not too long ago you were planning your goals for this year?
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about
this podcast and calling all three of you guys going, I have a project. I would like you guys to be a part of it.
Wow. And there's so much more, right, that we're going to be amping up and adding into this broadcast into the new year. So I'm pretty excited in general about that.
We have a lot of exciting things.
All right, so let's just talk about like your net worth.
Oh my God, let's do it.
Your net worth. Christina, let's start with you because you've been biting at it. I know that before we even went live, you were like, let's go. I think you even punched your screen. So let's go. All right, what do you got?
Here's the deal. Look, like I gotta tell you what really grinds my gears, right? That's going on out there right now.
Really
is that
my gears.
Oh, I gotta tell you, because so many people are in my inbox and they want to make money. I get it. We all need to make extra money right now. The cost of living is through the roof. But here's what's happening, and it's so frustrating to me, is that they're buying a $7 course or a $27 course or a $197 course that is promising them the moon to teach them how to do a skill that they've never done before. Maybe it's affiliate marketing, maybe it's drop shipping, maybe, whatever it is. And they're like, but I want to be part of this. So I think I'm just going to become an affiliate marketer. And I'm like, okay, great. That's wonderful. Do you know what you want to do? Do you know what you want to sell? Who are you selling to? And they can't answer that question. Who are they selling to? And what my frustration is, and I'm so excited for this conversation, because my frustration lies in the fact that they're being sold this dream without a reality behind it. And the reality is, if you have nobody to sell to, there's no skipping the line. If you haven't taken the time to build quality relationships with people through the value that you provide them in your network, if you have not taken that time, you have no one to sell to. And so there's these girls on TikTok, they're like, I made $435,000 last month. Here are the 5 steps I did to do that. Well, you also forgot to tell people that you have 600,000 followers on Instagram. You have a massive email list.
Yeah,
You also have a
1.5
million
million on TikTok.
Yeah. And so of course you're going to go make that because you've built the audience. You've done the work beforehand. And so many people out there don't understand this concept, and they have no idea, right? Amateurs try and sell stuff to people. Professionals know who they're selling to. They know the demographic of people that they can help, and then they find products or services that will help those people at their most basic instinctual need. And they're smart about it.
Right?
Like, yes,
thank you so much for watching Uncensored Entrepreneurs today. We are out.
Problem.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know what? A lot of this training that's out there is just, it is all built that way. It's built around this kind of massive, let's just blast social media. Let's cram it all in. I'm the same way. Like my Messenger, I actually miss a lot of valuable conversations in Messenger because of all the spam, right? It's just so many people will, I mean, I get hundreds a day where people are just constantly going, buy this, buy this, buy that. Have you ever thought about this?
Do you need an appointment setter?
Oh, oh my gosh.
Do you need somebody to work on SEO? Do you need somebody? They don't even know you. They haven't even looked at your profile. They've never had a conversation, and they're already.
I told you guys last week somebody requested me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about writing a book? I can help you do so. Check out my five." I'm like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, they have no idea. They have no idea.
And Christina,
my gears.
You and I were talking about the fact that now it takes longer to nurture people into the world, right? So I was talking to a client recently, and she's like, "But Star, what am I going to sell?" And I was like, "There's like a nurture."
Well, here's what you sell. Build it first.
You know, people want you know, they want to hop on a call and they just want to close the deal, but the person has never seen you before, right? So there isn't. It's okay to connect and have these conversations with people and get to know them, but they still have to know, like, and trust you. And right now, people are jumping on those $7 offers. So how are you going to charge high ticket? You have to be visible.
Yes.
Be seen. They have to understand how you can actually support them. And it's going to take longer. It's going to take more touch points.
Yeah.
90 to 180 days actually now.
Exactly right. Yeah. And by all means, for those that are watching, I was going to say, for those that are watching that are in like network marketing, or they have maybe a small product or service that they're selling, like a $7 offer, we're not, by no means are we saying that that's a bad thing, but you still need to nurture, right? And we understand that everything's scalable. But I mean, when you're trying to build a relationship, the first thing it shouldn't be, I'm in your inbox, let's connect. By the way, I have
my $7 product.
Because quite frankly, it could be the best product on the market. And if our relationship starts that way, and I'm going to speak for probably most of our audience or other professionals out there, I'm going to say that 90% of us will just say, forget it, right? You'll skip right over it. And there could be a lot of value there. But it's just the wrong way to sell a product for sure.
And those $7 products are really designed to like list build, right? So growing your email list, growing your audience. Okay, now that you've opted into this amazing $7 thing, come into my world now, come to my Facebook group or whatever platform you're serving your audience on. So they're not designed to like, oh, I'm getting rich. It's like, no, you're going to list build, you're going to nurture them, and then you're going to upsell them later down the line.
And absolutely. That's where the organic marketing comes in, and I tell my clients all the time, just because, email is not good for you doesn't mean you need to stop emailing. Just because they're not responding to your emails doesn't mean you need to stop emailing, because they're going to go through on their phone and they're going to say, oh, Tina Torres, delete. And then they're going to be on Facebook and be like, oh, Tina's doing something. Okay, cool. Oh, and then they're going to go on TikTok and be like, oh, Tina's doing whatever. Oh, that's cool. And then they're going to see somebody else saying, oh, Tina's doing this. Oh, that's cool. And then they're going to be like, oh, let me actually.
Like, oh, you know what? I'm thinking that maybe I'll give Tina a call. Absolutely. And by the way, speaking of your network being your net worth, Devin, my oldest, is here. And so he just popped in. He says networking and building is an audience is key.
So Devin, tell us all the secrets that your dad has that you want to let us know about.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he has a lot. And quite frankly,
he says, get him off quick.
Yeah, no, but quite frankly, I'm very proud of him and what he's done in that fashion. He obviously saw me doing this at a very early age, and but he's done it, right? He's done it in his own career. And so I commend him on that. He knew that from a very early stage. He's always like, Dad, how come every time we walk into a room, like it doesn't matter where we're at, you're shaking hands, you're giving your business cards out, you're saying hi to people, you know, and it's that energy. And it has to be authentic too, right? I mean, people see right through, you know, this kind of fake demeanor nowadays, but anyways, so I do appreciate that. What's he say? I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
You know, one thing that I love to do is when because I used to teach on networking and how to build a relationship in 2 minutes. And for some reason, everybody was like, Tina, how can you create a relationship in 2 minutes and have these people think that you're like their best friend? I'm like, I don't know. Isn't anybody do that? And I guess nobody else, I mean, it's a skill and I didn't know I had that. And started teaching it. And one thing I always love to do is one of the first things I said, who do I know that you need to know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do I know that you need to know that I can introduce you to?
Yes. Yeah. John Maxwell, that was so key. That's something he's been preaching since, you know, the beginning of time, meaning that, you know, he has been always talking about when he meets somebody, there's always value. And then in the next question, like you said, Tina, he always asks, who do you know that I should know? Like, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
And
no. I say, who do I know?
Yeah. You're doing exactly. Yeah.
So then that way I am pushing out the give first.
Yes.
You want to give and give and give and give. And whatever you give comes back tenfold, right? So why not give more? So I always, you know, who do I know? Oh, I know him. Let me connect you guys. And
I think in that process too, that's like, let's talk a little bit about strategy to build your network, right?
Yes.
Because, you know, we talked a little bit, okay, here's a $7 product that'll help you build your email list. But you have to understand that there's a strategy behind that. And that if you continue to offer, like it takes, you could sell 1,000 $7 products, right? To make a certain amount of money. Whereas if you're selling high ticket, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 products, there's a massive gap in between there. So you have to start making decisions. And when people come to me and they're like, how did you do multiple 5-figure launches this year in a receding economy? It's that, well, by the way, did you know that almost the last 8 years I've showed up and given free value? I've shown up every freaking day. I've built a community on Facebook. I built a community on TikTok. Built a community on Instagram. And you cannot skip that piece. It takes time, energy, intention. And so when it comes to building these networks, you can build an email list, you can build a Facebook group, you can build a following, but you have to be able to communicate with the people that are in that group. Maybe you use Project Broadcast and you do massive texts, right? Whatever it is that you do to keep in touch with people and figure out what it is that they need. The most successful entrepreneurs that I know, well, number one, take time to interview the people that they've worked with that have had success and get other clients to achieve the same success. But number two, they'll also go in and they'll start asking questions to people that have never bought from them before. What are the challenges that you're overcoming? And they will evolve and adapt to the marketplace right now. And so many people are just like, oh, what I'm doing isn't working. So maybe this company isn't working. So I'm going to hop over here and do what this company is doing. Or like, maybe I'm not meant to do this. Do you know that if you're asked today, if your stream of income right now disappeared, that 90% of people would go back to doing what they did before? Like I would go back to doing hair. And I think that comfort that's there, not only do you stay in one place or you're working backwards from that, but when you decide that you have a vision and a mission that is so much bigger than yourself, you're going to constantly be innovating. Like every single year, you're going to be innovating something new. You're going to become a new person. You're going to level up leadership. And you've got to do that if you want to bring people along for the ride with you, because they're going to get bored of the same old crap that you're posting and the same old stuff that you're putting out there if you don't evolve in the marketplace. Right? So what's your strategy, you guys? I would love to hear from each of you what your strategy is on building that network. This is our show is part of that, right? Like we use this show to build our network. Go ahead.
I think anything that brings value is going to help, so, weekly emails, and don't always, give a CTA, but not a buy now CTA. Follow me here, or, hey, follow my good friend Christina, who is doing this. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I call her Mom too.
That's fine.
I told her, I said, I can't wait to meet you. The thing last week, she goes, "Oh my God, that was so beautiful." And so I was like, "I can't wait to meet you." She's like, "I can't wait to meet you too." I was like, "I feel like you're like my mom." Okay, so anyways, weekly emails by, showcasing somebody, or, hey, I just seen this amazing podcaster on, here, I'm sharing their information, or, just a simple thank you, like, happy Thanksgiving. This is a perfect week to send a happy Thanksgiving, I'm grateful to all of you type of email. And so that value, that 80-20, you want to put 80% value and 20% of sales in there. But that value, giving value and value and value. What I have a problem with is giving too much. I'm like, "Ooh, I'm giving it all away." But you're not. You're not. And when I talk to my clients about, their marketing calendar throughout the year, if somebody were to follow me, read every single email, watch every single video, watch every single TikTok, watch all my YouTube channels, look at every single post every single day, they can probably write a book themselves. If they, took it all, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Took all my coaching stuff, because I give it all. I tell you guys everything, what to do and how to do it and all that stuff. So if you took it all, you wouldn't even need to buy my course. But your course is in there in a nice little package. Your coaching is in there in a nice little package. And then I also have another thing where people say, "Oh, they're not buying from me. I don't want to deal with them no more. Let's take them out of my group. Let's take them out of here." I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
They know 250 other people that they can be a good referral partner if you just build that relationship with them.
So, I feel like, at least when I'm speaking for myself over all these years, and when I say all these years, I mean, I have been networking like at a professional level since I know I'm going to give away my age, but since
the 1900s?
Since the 1900s? Oh my God, you were born in the 1900s.
Professional level.
You're like
at 1994, right? So that was my very first,
graduated high school.
Very first networking group was in 19.
I was 10.
Thank you all. Well, so anyways, I was networking in the womb.
At least I was legal. She was 10.
But let me tell you,
hasn't even talked because she was like 5.
But let me tell you something interesting. I believe that your network, if you're trying to think of like this in broad terms, it should be built by multiple quadrants. There's those that actually buy from you regularly. There's those that do not buy from you, but they're like your fan base, right? There's those that are professional. There's those that are just professional greeters and networkers themselves. They should be part of your network as well. And so it doesn't always have to be this
partners.
Right. Yep. It doesn't always have to be this monetary, product exchange. There's so much value. I always share the instance where one of the clients that I've had for many, many years, still to this day, which is crazy. I believe they've spent $500 with me. And, this is a few years back. They constantly send me business. I mean, they're always inviting me onto stages. They're introducing me to others regularly. And in many times, there's such a value exchange that I'll usually just let them jump aboard on anything else that I'm doing, because there's just so much value in that. So I want to make sure that people understand that when we say your network is your net worth, it doesn't necessarily have to have like this immediate dollar sign attached to it. You have to think of the bigger picture of who will basically be on your squad that will help you move the needle in very trying times. I mean, that is so key. And that's why I mentioned COVID when we first kind of jumped in, because coming out of that, so there are so many businesses that are no longer in business, so many coaches that are no longer coaching because it took everything out of them. When quite frankly, if you have a strong network, those people themselves will be the catalyst to kind of pull you out of that rut.
And I recently just got a client from me participating in somebody else's live. I was on somebody else's live and just talking to her back and forth, and she was like, "Oh my God, Tina Torres is here, yada yada yada." And so she started following me and then asked me what I did. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I just see you all the time interacting with her. And I wanted to see what you do."
Absolutely.
Star, what about you? I mean,
Yeah,
has
the other thing is
150,000 people in her group that she has to nurture. So
not yet. Obviously quality is more
But
important.
100.
just 125.
Yes, bring it, Star. Let's talk about quality over quantity.
So, yeah, obviously quality is definitely very important, right? When it comes to your business, the quality of leads that you're bringing in. And there's one thing to have quantity, and I do something with that quantity. I have a specific offer designed for that quantity. But my high ticket is, and even my services is not for everyone in my community. And I realized that when I built my group, I knew like what my focus was, what my goals for that group in terms of income producing activities were going to be. But the thing that I want to say is that some people also have focused on building an audience and then they just stop, right? You need to consistently bring new people into your world.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a group of like 2,000 members. There are people who make 6 figures off of that 2,000 members. But those of you who are like not making any income off of your members, why are you not bringing new people into your world and growing your Instagram following, growing, you know, whatever that friend connections on Facebook, whatever the thing is that you're doing to grow your audience, you need to consistently bring new people in. And that's the challenge because they want to sell to the same small group of people. And maybe they've tapped out, right? Maybe the people who want you from that group have already purchased. So there's this, I see a lot of people just not focused on that. And I think it's very important as well. And Tina, you mentioned like removing people. You can remove people if you want to, right? You don't have to, but also that's another thing is like if they're like dead weight, you can definitely remove them.
Or create another offer, right? Like create, you know, hey, oh my gosh, guess what? I just created an affiliate program for all of you guys who love my stuff, just can't afford it, or who want to make extra money. Create an affiliate program for them.
Right. You know, I mentioned in February, right? It was like the month before I had my biggest month, but that month it was so exhausting because, as I stated, I went on a couple of virtual stages. I ended up with a total of ended up being 47 booked appointments, where I spent all that time, right? Like pre-qualifying, talking to individuals about you know, what problems they have and how, you know, how I may be able to solve that, because not everyone's a good fit, right? But during that process, I told everyone, you know, it took me 6 weeks to get through it. And I think there was like 2,000 in sales, right? That was definitely not my ticket. Quite frankly, 2,000 in sales isn't even close to like what a one-on-one client relationship would normally be for me. And so when I think of that, I thought, oh my gosh, this was a lot of work. And it definitely was not my target audience for what it was that I was putting together at that time. However, that's when you kind of reassess and go, is it the wrong stage, the wrong time, or, you know, or do I have another product or service or a way that I can put them into the right community and start nurturing them, right?
Yeah. And I think that warm audience piece versus growing your network, this is where I see so many people get stuck in business, is that they don't know how to ask for referrals. Like I built my whole salon business on referrals. Star, I'm sure you did very, very similar, right? Like everything was built on referrals. But when I see people in online business, I see them come in with a certain amount of followers, a certain amount of people, and then they exhaust those, they skyrocket their business and then exhaust those options, and then they have no one else to sell to. And so I'll say, okay, so here's how I expand my network. I'm going to do short form video. I'm going to be very strategic about the short form video that I'm doing to expand. I'm going to create viral videos. Yes, you can do that on purpose, right? I'm going to create that to bring different people in that are my target demographic, my dream avatar, right? And if you want to do that, you have to be intentional about it, or go speak on stage somewhere, right? And then people are like, well, I don't want to speak on stage, or I don't want to show up every day on social media. Well, then you obviously don't want to build your business that bad, because when I first got into business, people were like, oh, just go walk through the mall and start talking to people. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I would way rather show up with value on social media every single day and reach out to people on social media every single day. By the way, there's a difference, right? There's marketing and there's prospecting. There's two things that need to happen. You can't have one without the other. And so often people are like, I don't want to cold message somebody. If they're a follower of yours, if there's somebody that's commented on your stuff, if there's somebody, right, that's not a cold message. But it is a cold message if the first message is like, oh, hey, I saw that you commented on my post with this so-and-so product. Here's the details. You didn't even ask permission to send them anything. You didn't even get to know them. You didn't even say, hey, I'd love to get to know you. I'd love to know who you are. I'd love to know what you do. I want to see how I can help you. Maybe it'll be a fit. Maybe I can introduce you to somebody else. It's learning the communication in the process to not put people in a position that they like instantly want to say no.
Yes.
They actually, because that's their initial reaction,
that you
right?
just use, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is what is key. How can I help you? Because whatever they need, you're going to be able to be, oh, you know what? I have this person. Oh, you know what? I know this person. Oh, you know what? Let me connect you with so-and-so.
Right.
And then you're going to be that referral source that they're never going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just tell you, you don't like to cold call? How about cold knocking on doors?
Yeah.
Remember,
that used to be a life.
In the early 90s, like knocking on doors. Let me just tell you a little secret. I used to sell rainbow vacuum cleaners. Okay.
I can see that.
And let me just tell you too, I sold 7 rainbow vacuum cleaners in 1 week.
Yeah, I can see that because I mean, right? I mean, it takes energy to sell those things to begin with.
Knocking on you, and you were knocking on doors like, hey, I'm Tina, and I'm here to I would love to show you a free demonstration of how my vacuum cleaner can work for you.
You know, there's so much value in, like, if I think of my past experience in cold sales like that, there's so much value to that without a doubt. But in today's world, like especially if you're leveraging, there's a place for that. But if you're leveraging, social media as a whole, you have to nurture. I'm telling you, you have to. And here's the thing, right, Christina? You brought up the fact, to the right person, you could have a hard pitch. I don't think any professional, any one of us, would ever think that a hard pitch is a bad thing as long as you've established some type of like relationship, meaning that if I know you and we know exactly what we're all about, and you call me and say, I have the best funnel in the world, it converts XYZ, are you interested?
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes or no immediately, right? Or show
Yeah.
And you should have seen somebody like us 4, and we have, believe me. Oh my God, I just got this thing. I want you guys to be the first one. What's your credit card? What's your credit card number? And it'll be like, here you go.
Oh yeah.
Right. If it's something that you need. And honestly, I don't want to waste any time with people. I'll tell you something. So this is the newest tactic is that people will comment on your post and say, hey, I've sent you a message. I want to connect with you. Right. Then they get in your inbox and they'll send you a message. I let this girl. I'm like, okay, I want to see what you got, man. I want to see what your messages look like. Maybe I'll pass them on to my appointment setter, right? So I want to see how this is going to go down the line. She was extremely complimentary. She said, we have a program that I think would be great for you. We've been following you for a while. We love what you're doing. And you know what? Okay, stroke my ego a little bit. That's great. Now, what is it that you've got? And maybe I want it, maybe I don't, right? But it's the people that get into your inbox and are instantly pitching like they haven't done anything. And not even to say that this is the best way to do it here.
For you. I'm so glad we became friends. And this is this and this, and I can do this and I can do this and I can help you write a book. Are you interested?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, why do people think that professional business people will hire some random person on the internet without asking for a referral or without getting a recommendation from a friend? That's how we do business.
Absolutely. So with that being said, what a perfect way to segue into, you said referral, and that's so key in the world of networking, right? Building this network, because if you've built the right relationships over time, I mean, most of my business I was just talking to Star before the rest of you actually jumped aboard when we were off screen. And I said, Star,
when the rest of you barely made it.
Yeah. But I told her, I said, I really haven't had to do a lot of paid advertising this year like I had in the past. But, yet I'm looking at it again because things are shifting once again. But I really relied heavily on a lot of my referrals, my strong network, the relationships that I've built. And I want to give this book one more plug. I know, Christina, I beat you to the book thing. So, because you always have a book that you recommend.
I was gonna say I got another one. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But let me tell you about like a major shift, and especially when we think of those times, right? I wasn't even leveraging social media. So Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. I've talked about this one. It's an old one, right? And I actually met him at the book signing in 2005. And during that time, I mean, I was an executive of a big corporate company, a Fortune 500 company, actually, at the time in my life. I still had my own consulting business.
Fortune 500.
Yeah, Fortune 500. But I was consulting, right? So I was doing kind of the back and forth. And that changed my entire life because I realized something as simple as that, meaning that you have this gap in time. We think we don't have time to network. I have a job, a 9 to 5 or whatever it may be. And that in itself made me realize that during my lunch period, every single day, I should be having coffee, lunch, or a phone conversation with someone that would actually, that I could collaborate with, or we could talk and brainstorm about something, or we could find out how we can serve one another. And that was absolutely, it goes back to what you said earlier, Tina, always asking those questions. Who do you know, or who do I know, and how can we serve and help one another? And anyway, so that book itself was just one thing back in 2005. I've held true to it ever since. And it doesn't matter if the networking has been organized or just something that's been kind of impromptu and on the fly, maybe walking into even like a brewery or anything, right? It's having these conversations with people that are genuine and saying, so what's going on in your life? Like, what kind of things have you been working on? And when people open up and they start telling you these things, the next question I ask is, okay, so like, what are your goals? Yeah. And when they say, well, this is my goal, and I've been trying to do it for 3 or 4 years. So what do you think has stopped you? I mean, 3 or 4 years, like, why do you think you haven't been able to accomplish that goal? Whatever their next sentence is exactly the problem that either you should be solving or you should connect them with somebody that can solve that problem.
And
Amen, Robert.
It was 7 to 12 touches before you were able to create a sale or get a sale from sell a product. 7 to 12. That was back in the day. Now it's 15 to 20
to 20. Yeah.
Touches. Yep. And that's just like a social media post, an email. They see you on stage. They see you on Uncensored Entrepreneur. That's just 4 touches right there.
And also talking about strategy with that, when you're running your programs, you should be letting your clients know that you have a referral program. You can pay them affiliate commissions to refer people into your program. You can literally talk about that every time you meet with your clients if you want to. That's another touch point, and they get paid for doing that. Yeah. Also, I have people who've referred so many people to my lower ticket products, like, oh, Star, I have this perfect person for you. And I have a lady that would always just constantly refer people to my programs. She liked me. I nurtured her. I had those conversations with her, just normal, natural conversations. And she would always refer, people to buy the products from me. And then the other thing too, like this year.
Has she ever bought anything from you, Star?
Yeah, she has. Yeah, that's how we met.
I have a couple of referral people like that who have never bought anything, but refer me. I mean, everybody to me all the time.
This particular woman, she actually had purchased, so she really liked, the way that I taught and things like that. But the other thing too that I did this year is like I've been on a ton of summits this year. And that's another thing.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah. And so I'm actually forming new relationships with new women. So people will refer me to summits like, oh, Star, we know you participate in summits. So we refer you for this. Even some of the people who run these that are like 7-figure coaches have just dropped in my inbox and asked me to participate in these things. So again, it's like, if you're actually forming relationships with people, that's going to allow you to have more opportunity to expand.
Yes. And all you got to do is learn how to become an asset, right?
Exactly.
How can you become an asset
to
a 7-figure earner? How can you become an asset to a podcast host? And the book that I was going to recommend that I've read and listened and re-listened to,
Robert. It's not 1900s.
Maybe you've never heard of him before, Alex Hermosi. I'm just saying, but like
I think so.
He's got a book out right now, 100 million leads, right? $100 million leads, and he talks about how do you get those leads and all the
I think I have it.
and guess what? That book, Robert's got it. Yes, but like the best part about that is that
I just got it from Justin.
But it's a lead magnet himself. He actually gave that book away for free because his target demographic isn't people like that are looking for leads. His target demographic, like you have to have, I think, $2 million to work with his program, right? In gross sales. You can't just go walk into his program. And so it teaches you all of these different ways that you could be getting leads and studying that. This is what people don't take seriously. They count themselves out And they don't realize that if you want to make it in business, you've got to be a life learner. You got to continue learning
Yeah.
step after step, and how the economy is evolving, how social media is evolving, how all of this is, and become the person that is going to provide the value to the people. And so much value. Tina, you said you give away everything. I've given away everything, but what people pay for is proximity. I learned that from Gary Vee. They pay for proximity and accountability, because they won't just go do it on their own.
And
they
you
can Google it, and they don't.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Like just like you can with a book. You can Google, how do I write a book on Amazon KDP? How do I upload it? How do I edit? You can do all of that, but you got to teach yourself. Instead of
most people don't even get through the first chapter, Tina.
You know,
like most people do not get through the first chapter of a book, and they don't commit to learning the skill and then applying it, or they get stuck in the learning phase and they're constantly learning and learning and learning, and they never apply, and then they wonder why they can't get ahead.
Yeah, we're in such an ego-driven like time that, you know, when you see it all across social media, even sales and pitches and TikTok and Instagram, it's all ego-driven. And so the disclaimer, right? It doesn't matter if they're selling, again, the $7 course, $199, whatever it may be, whatever that program is. The thing they don't tell you, it could be free even, quite frankly. The thing they do not prepare you for is it doesn't say in the disclaimer, you will fail multiple times before this works. And that in itself, right?
We should start putting that in our books. You're going to fail multiple times.
It's why people do fail, because it's that, you know, ego, again, kind of driven society that, oh my gosh, my feelings are hurt. You know, you don't want what I'm offering, and so I'm going to quit. And it's interesting that we see this a lot in network marketing. And by the way, I think network marketing is amazing for all the right reasons. But the reason why it gets such a bad name is because how ironic that the word networking or network is actually in it, because over time, so many of those companies have gotten further and further and further away from actually building networks, right?
Yeah.
You know, I remember one of my old mentors, and he's not old, but he is a good friend of mine, Jordan Adler, and you guys all probably know who he is, Beach Money. He said I was in a network marketing company with him, and him and I were really good friends back in the day. And he gave this scenario, you know, say you're at Denny's and the waitress comes and asks you if she can refill your cup. And you say, no, it's okay. And she runs back to the back going and crying because you don't want to refill your cup. And she's like, I quit. I don't want to do it no more. I'm done. Because you said no. Mm-hmm. He's like, what would happen if you just kept going? No, she doesn't do that. She just, okay. And refill.
Do you want pie? Do you want, what do you want? We'll give you something else then.
And then she refills everybody else's cup. She doesn't go run back to the back and crying her eyes out and says, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. Right. Because you have to keep on failing. You have to say, you know, go for no, right? Like, it's just like Eric Roy says, go for no. Keep on going until somebody says yes. But also, what else can I get you? Just like you said, Christine, what else can I get you? You know, they might want dessert. They might want something else. They might need this. They might want something to go. They might want a, you know, Olive Garden little pasta thing to go. You know, whatever it is, they might want something else besides just coffee.
Another little plug, sponsored by Olive Garden.
You can send us all lunch if you want to.
So, all right. So let's kind of, just because of, you know, the sake of time, like, let's really kind of hone in so that there's also this really understanding by people that watch this either live or they're watching it later on recording, that, like, how do you build a network successfully, right? Like, what are some key things that you should do? And let's just talk about it broadly. It's, you know, on the surface, and then even what we should do in the digital age, you know, as far as building a CRM. Many people don't even know what a CRM is. They get into business and they're like, you're doing what with who and how? So let's talk about some of those things.
The first thing I say is follow up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. And don't follow up and be like, what can I sell you? Follow up and be like, hey, it was so great to meet you today. What can we do? I would love to sit down with coffee, or have a virtual coffee, or have a virtual chat with you, or, you know, anything like that. Let's go to lunch. Let's go to breakfast so I can get to know you better.
And make it genuine. I'm just going to throw in there. But what I mean is, and also set the expectations of what that is. I have, you know, even like coming out of the big event that we, you know, we're in Florida, right? Faith Over Fear. there were so many people that were like, let's get on your calendar, let's talk. And bluntly, it's like, okay, just so that you know, because I'm 100% interested in reconnecting with you. But like for the next 3 weeks, it's probably lights out. You're not going to see anything in my calendar available. So let's plan on talking a few weeks down the road. But I'm very interested in having this conversation. So set those expectations too, right? Because some people get so wrapped up into it that like their world is just talking to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
When you're like, man, so busy, it may take, a little while to kind of bring it back around. Exactly. I think that's important.
And be intentional too. Like talk about how you built your massive group to 100,000 people. It wasn't because you were like, hey, I have a group. Like you were very intentional about building that group.
If you want to join my group, you can join it.
Yeah, I was gonna say something that's kind of easy for people to do right now, which is like there's a big Facebook group for podcasting. Get visible. Get yourself on a podcast. I've been like on my clients about that. That's one of the simplest things that you can do to help you build your authority. You can share that in my big group, or wherever.
My big group, 125,000 people that are in there. You can share for just $47 a month.
Thank you, Tina. No,
it wasn't funny.
But yeah, Christina, to your point, for sure. I actually started with affiliate marketing. I think I've shared that before, because I was running the stores, and I was like, I want to get into the online space and see like what else can I do that's not like me having to be required to be at a location and all this ripping and running. It didn't necessarily work out for me at the time, but what happened was I started to see coaches in the online space, and that's when I created my group. Christina, was for the affiliate marketing, and I was like Mom something, I named it, but I didn't do anything with it. But later on, when COVID hit, they gave me more time. Our retail locations were temporarily closed down, I think, for like 2 or 3 months. I think you guys remember, like you had to be able to like sell medicine or like necessary.
Yeah, it was essential people.
Exactly. So we were shut down for a few months, and that gave me time to really say, okay, I'm going to really hop into this coaching space. And I renamed my Facebook group. So that's very important, is that you have keywords. Your group is named with keywords that are in alignment with who your people are and what they're looking for, right? So oftentimes I have clients that are like, they want to use these like really creative names for their groups or some like catchy phrase, but that's not a real word or their own name. Use something that's SEO. And then I was very strategic about like growing my group, inviting people to it in that consistency. And then Facebook rewarded me. And then they started recommending my group, which is also free advertisement as well. So that's why you guys always hear me talking about using Facebook groups for your marketing as well.
And your target market was really, it was really niche down, right? That's a whole nother thing. You could have all the best conversation, the best topics and content in the world. If you're speaking to the wrong audience, you aren't going to have a conversion rate, right? Okay. And we've all been there. We're also, always sorting through that on a regular basis. What about some things in general? And I'd like to hear from everyone on this, that people can do to get started, to be intentional, to build their network at no cost at all. And one thing I'm just going to throw out there is to stay around the campfire, right? Like, so no matter what it is you're trying to do, whether you're brand new and trying to figure this all out, or whether you've been doing this for a long time and you're trying to level up your business, continue to stay around the campfire. And I'm pointing right here back at myself in regards to that, because we get so inundated with whatever it is that's right in front of us that a lot of times we do forget about kind of that core, the core that actually, number one, it sharpens the saw, and it also continues to build this network, right? The relationships that we have. And so stay around the campfire. Again, what I mean by that is stay plugged in to whoever it is that's going to uplift you and not tear you down.
I'm going to take that to the next level too, Robert, is create your own damn campfire, right? Create your own campfire.
Exactly.
And creative, so number one, one of the things that I do to help people house these groups, if they're not quite at the space where they've got lead magnets or they can build an email list, start a Facebook group. And in the Facebook questions, ask for their email, ask for their phone number, ask for, what they're looking for in the group, and get some knowledge out of them, and then start to put value in that group. Now, when you're building a network, you don't need to build for everybody. Robert, you alluded to this, right? You don't need to build a network for everybody. You want to be really consistent in the value-driven content that you're putting in that group or putting out on your Facebook, because realize that is what calls people in. And it's really interesting because I realized like some of the stuff that I was talking about was like really low level stuff. Whereas like, so for example, people reach out and say, how do I make more money? And then I'm like, do you want passive income? Do you want residual income? Are you starting a business? I'm giving them options, right? Well, everybody wants passive income, but they don't have money to invest. So obviously that's a lower level. They don't understand. Those of us that have been in business for a long time have multiple streams of income. We know that passive income doesn't come without having some sort of investment, right? And so you have to talk to your avatar, but understand that if you talk at this level, you're not calling anybody up here down, right? You're like, this is where your cap is. So if you want to talk to a certain group of people and you want to serve a certain group of people, you have to talk above that group of people or into the next level so that those people are listening now. Like, for example, I think about, all those people out there that are trying to make $100,000 a year. And it's like, okay, maybe you did it once, but you're struggling and you can't be consistent in that income. So you have to start talking at that level if you want more people that are like that, or more people that you want to attract that way, as opposed to talking about the problems of broke ass people. Excuse my language. Okay.
True.
But like,
True.
Because if you continue to talk about that, then that's all you're going to attract. And so I would rather have 10,000 followers or 1,000 followers that are absolutely ideal for what I'm selling and how I can support them than have 100,000 that like me because a cat video went viral.
Oh, that is so true. By the way, I'm going to give a little plug to Ryan. Does anyone else know Ryan?
I do know Ryan. I don't know him personally, but him and I have had a conversation.
Ryan literally lives like 12 miles from me. Yeah.
I think that he lived like in Maine or something.
No. Does he look like somebody that lives in Maine? But I do want to give Ryan. I do want to give you a shout out and plug.
Like Ryan.
I do want to give you a shout out and plug because man, he's blown it up and I mean,
he's blowing it up on TikTok.
So he is officially. I will announce him as officially my TikTok coach. He's got some great content.
Go check him out.
We'll be having him on our show. So
definitely.
So anyways, but one of the things he was just reinforcing the fact, like, ask those questions, right? Like, what is it that you're working on?
Ask these questions in the group. What are your goals? What are you working on? And would you like to connect on a call?
Exactly. And it's it's intentional. He's speaking to, and here's the best thing I could tell anyone that's just getting started: speak to the pain. So, if you have any type of skill set whatsoever, and you're just trying to figure out, like, who is my audience? Like, if that is your skill set, think of the pain that you had to overcome. What sets you apart from that pack, and speak to it, right? Speak to it on social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever that platform may be, because that is your target market, and they will understand. They'll resonate with that, especially if you've overcome that pain in some type of way.
But let me just reiterate too. My people are on Instagram and Facebook. Those are where my people are. If you wanted to write a book, my people are on there. However, I do still post on TikTok. I still post on Twitter, X, whatever the heck. Yeah. I still post on LinkedIn.
Whatever that is.
Whatever the heck, X, whatever the heck it is. I still post in all of the platforms. You're going to see me everywhere. But I'm like in Facebook and Instagram every day, all day.
Cool.
Like, whereas Ryan is in TikTok every day and all day.
Well, and he's in a lot of things too. Like, one of the things that he speaks on.
Yeah, he's on all the platforms.
But we're gonna have him talk a lot about this kind of cross marketing thing. I know it's something key. I don't want to take away his fire here, but one of the things he's been saying is, like, how many people on TikTok are talking about use TikTok to build your Facebook group. Right. Yeah. Not a lot of people are doing this cross marketing stuff. Yeah. And so he's definitely on spot there. But so with that being said, so what are some other things that people can do to just start to cultivate that thing? I will say CRM before we go any further.
Yes.
It can be as basic. And when I say you're just starting out, it can be as basic as, pen and paper, right? I
did that for 6 years.
Yeah.
Mail and Light is free. I mean, there's a flow desk thing.
There's a bunch.
Look at them that are free and start using them. And
well, if you've got a Gmail, you already have a CRM that you're not using. I mean, a basic CRM.
Exactly.
But you already have something. And start in one little key thing I'll throw out there. Again, it goes way back to that 2005 networking, where I started to realize, and it really allowed me to be successful in the banking industry, was I started to take those little notes, like genuinely, meaning if I'm having a conversation and someone's talking about their poodle, right? And they love that poodle, they talk about the poodle more than they talk about their own children, then I'm going to know that poodle's name. I'm going to know every little thing about it, right? Exactly. And I may even send that poodle a gift on its birthday. Like, you know, so when was Pookie's birthday? So
oh my God, let me tell you, when I used to do that all the time. When I sent you guys your uncensored entrepreneur stuff, I mean, the whole card and gift situation, it blew people away.
Oh, that's how you pitched us. I see how
that and the cool.
I have yet to receive mine.
Oh man.
No, I have to deliver. I have to hand.
You have to hand deliver it.
I have to hand deliver hers.
So what are some other pointers as we close out that you would just like to, some last thoughts about network to build your net worth and why it's so important? Again, money comes and goes. That's the last thing I'll say. Money comes and goes.
Yeah.
But when money is down to zero, the fastest thing that will drag you back out of that are the connections that you've built and the skills that you've adopted over all these years. No one can take those things away from you.
Yeah. Robert, you talked about meeting people in person, but you can do coffee chats now on Zoom. So you can connect with your Facebook group members. You don't, of course, like I said, a lot of people just want to, I have a Facebook group, I want to sell. Like, don't sell, just like connect with them, find out what they're working on, provide value. Then you can start following up with them if you feel that there's someone who you can support as well. But also just connect with them, like Robert said he did.
Try not to sell them anything. Like, make that your whole goal is do not sell them anything on that first call.
Build relationships
in person with them. What would you say if you were if you were at a networking event? What would you be saying to people? How would you introduce yourself? Do the same thing online.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And by the way, just for those that want to take note, Rosie's birthday is June 18th. So if you'd like to send Rosie a bone, a gift.
Mama Cheryl, when's your birthday? We want to know when your birthday is too. Well, I do.
January 30th. But here's the deal.
After my birthday, because mine's December 30th.
See? I think really focusing on your why. And I know, just hear me out on this for a second, okay?
I've been giving you time.
Understanding why you do what you do and having a long-term vision, because building a network, relationship building, it doesn't happen overnight. I was listening to an Ed Milet podcast the other day, and he said, I've been podcasting for 8 years, and like an idiot, I was just going to social media and sharing all this stuff. I wasn't building a list. Whereas all of my coworkers for 8 years have been building an email list. He's like, I've only been doing that for the last 2 years.
Yes.
And so it's understanding that this is not a short game. This is a long-term game, and you only win if you don't quit, right? The people that lose are the people that quit in the process. It gets too hard. And the reason that they quit is because they don't, other than selling somebody something and chasing the almighty dollar, from one thing to the next. I see this, by the way, happening all the time. People are absolutely saturating their market, confusing their audience because they're selling this week, they're selling this next week. You guys have seen it. I know you have on social media that you've seen these people that were selling one thing and now they're selling this. And I get it, because people need to make money. But sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to go 3 steps forward. Sometimes you have to, if you really truly want to build big money, long-term money, you have to give up the short-term chase and understand that it is way more about helping other people, even if you don't get paid. It's about doing the right thing every single time for those people, connecting them with the right people, right? Like if somebody came to me and said, I really am interested in writing a book, I'm not going to be like, I can't help you, or try and help them. I'm going to say, you need to meet my friend, Miss Tina Torres. She's the best at this, right? And when you do that, like Tina said before, people will never forget, but you have to have that long-term vision. And that long-term vision will evolve, by the way, because who are we helping right now? Who we were a year ago, who we were 6 months ago, who we were 5 years ago, and we evolve. And so as we evolve our network, we evolve the people around us, we get higher quality. What's been beautiful about this is when you first get into business, you kind of just grab whoever is on the street. We call and we call that low-lying fruit in the industry. And you're just like, I just want to sell something.
It's the Wild West. It's the Wild West.
Oh my God, right? But as you move on in business, you realize that although there are people that will click and buy, it's the long-term relationships that you build where people refer you, or they continue to come back, or they, support your stuff. Those are the relationships that will build this long-term. And so you have to commit to the long-term vision. And if you don't know your why or your purpose for being here, then you won't be able to commit to long-term, and you'll just end up flip-flopping around and chasing the dollar forever. And that's exhausting.
And you know what? And let me say something too. If Christina ever sent me a referral, she knows I have an affiliate program. So boom, there she gets a nice little check just from me.
Yeah, my clients have a program as well.
All she did was send me a referral. But guess what? For her client too, the client's gonna be flabbergasted because you just sent her to somebody else who can do what she needed, right? So now her client's gonna want to work with her. But on top of that, on top of me sending her a nice affiliate check, now I'm going to be trying to look out for her too. I'm going to be like, you know what? You need to talk to Christina. And now I'm going to send her referrals. And then it's going to go back and forth. So
reciprocity.
And not harder.
Are you actually saying doing something that's right for the customer? That's amazing. But it's true.
Shocking,
right?
Isn't it?
Simple. But you're absolutely right. It's so true. And again, in business in general, as you're building this network, again, remember there doesn't have to be monetary exchange.
Yes.
Not everyone is your client or customer. Star, I probably won't buy your product anytime soon. Never know. I'm not putting it off the table.
Who knows?
Kelly might.
However, I guarantee.
And he does have a couple of women in his life.
Anyone that is your avatar, I would send to you before anyone else, right? And so that's about building that network and those relationships.
Exactly.
So with that being said, we are at the top of the hour. We do appreciate it. Anything that anyone wants to add in, or we're good?
I would like to tell you guys all happy Thanksgiving, because we will not be on air next week.
Oh, that's right.
I thought we had it. Okay, we'll talk about that offline. Yeah,
Robert's like, wait a second. We're like, no, Robert.
We'll do maybe a pre-recorded thing. But anyways, so follow, like, and share us on Facebook.com/Uncensored Entrepreneurs and across other social media channels. And we look forward to, again, seeing you on the inside to be able to serve you in a big way. And also, as Tina said, happy Thanksgiving. We have so much to be grateful for. Talk to you soon.